Hey everybody, what's up? This is Sweezy's World. Could be your world. Hey, look, we made it. It's Friday. We have a weekend coming up. Hope everybody had a great week. Hope you had a chance to get out there and barbecue. If you don't, get out there a chance and barbecue this weekend. Nothing like a burger or something on the grill. Can't beat it. Uh, Look, I talk about things that interest me, and I hope hope that it'll interest you sometime. And sometimes I get ideas from you guys, and I think it's a good idea to kind of talk about what I'm going to talk about here right after this little clip from the Bible. Okay, a little Bible verse, just very little. Okay, so here we go. God is spirit, and his worshipers must worship in spirit and in truth. Amen. Amen. Okay, that would be John 4:21. So just so you know, look, some things that we need to keep on hand, and something that we need, maybe, the best, in my opinion, ammunition and weapons that you would need, just in case SHtF comes to your doorstep, because you don't know, man, it can. This country's in so much turmoil, so many factions. Will we ever get straight? No, I don't think so. I don't think it's in the cards that we'll ever be straight again until, after the return of Jesus Christ. But some ammo that I think is good to have, and I'm just going to let you hear on it. Everything here is basically just normal stuff that I think you would need. And like number one would be 22 long rifle. Why would you need a 22 long rifle? Good varmint gun, right? Good for hunting turkey. Good for hunting, small game. If you're hungry, you can't go wrong with a small weapon. That way you won't blow your game completely out of the park when you try and shoot it. And that's just what I think is a good thing to have, 22 long rifle. 9mm Luger, possibly NATO. You can't go wrong. You can find 9mm all over Lord's creation here in the United States and in Europe. And if you ever fall short of ammo and you're in some kind of a conflict, your odds are who you've had conflict with is going to have 9mm, probably Luger and NATO round. And it's a good thing to have. It's just a really good thing to have. Have a pistol. Like I say, have at least one of a couple of these things. You don't need everything. You don't need 20 guns. You don't need, unless you're supplying other people, you don't need to have 20 guns. You can only shoot like one, maybe two at a time. You know what I'm saying? Be very, very good at what you have. And don't go worrying about practicing with 30 different kinds of weapons, because you never be proficient with all of them. So better to be proficient with what you have. To me, that's just good heart, good value. Next, 5.56. Can't go wrong. NATO rounds. Like I said, best thing AR-15 can carry. Can't go wrong. It's good all around weapons round. Like I say. You can find them at the dime a dozen, laying all over the places out there in case something was to hit the fan. Probably 98% of everybody out there will have some. So when you win the fight, you go pick up the ammo, the odds are you'll have what you need. So it's just one of those things. All right, like around the house, a 12 gauge or an 18 gauge shotgun. Double-aught, you can't go wrong. You have the 18 gauge for, I won't say anything, but the lady friends, your spouse and whatnot. 18 gauge is more up their alley than trying to, hold a big freaking cannon and let that sucker go off in a 12 gauge. So, 12 gauge pump, you can't go wrong with a 12 gauge pump. When you sit there and you rack that thing and somebody's breaking in your house, you mark my word, that'll be the only thing they hear. And we're talking hitting the dirt and getting the heck out of Dodge, because nobody's going to mess with that. Just saying. A wheel gun, if you're using a wheel gun, get you a 357. Now there's 40s out there, right? And 45s. 45's a good one. You can find some of that ammo going around, but you can't beat 357 Magnum. You can't. Everybody and their brother's uncle is going to have at least one, and they're going to be carrying it, most likely. That or maybe a 45, And you can find that ammo laying on the street during a conflict, whatever you're having a conflict with. You can find it everywhere, A 30-06, can't go wrong. A 308, you most certainly can't go wrong. Good sniper rounds, So those are some of the ones I think you should have, and you should have a weapon, at least 2 or 3 of these. I would say if you're going to do anything, have one that shoots, a rifle that shoots 22 long. Have you a 9mm? Have you a 5.56 rifle of sorts, AR? It's good. And any kind of gauge, decent shotgun. Whoever makes what you consider to be a good shotgun, have one of them. And of course, your wheel gun, Smith. Can't go wrong with a Smith. Ruger, you can't go wrong. And there's buku ammo everywhere for those type of weapons. The 30-06, maybe not quite as much. Your 308, sniper rifle rounds and stuff like that, they're probably all over the place. And it's good to have this kind of a weapon. So when you need it and you say you run short, you can always find it. You know what I mean? I'm trying to beat around the bush here, but when I'm talking finding it, that means you've already went to combat and you won. So if you didn't win, it wouldn't matter. And it's just some of my thoughts. There's other thoughts. A lot of people may think of a lot of different other things, but in my opinion, if at least have a couple of these, at least a 9 and a 22 and something shoots 5.56. Like I said, even a good shotgun, have one of each one of these. You can't go wrong. Like I said, you don't need 20 guns. You just need a quick handful that you can grab here and there. So that's just my opinion. It's my 2 cents worth. And hey, your 2 cents worth may be a whole different list. This is kind of what's general, what you'll find out there when the doo-doo hits the fan. So, and you'll be able to pick it up, cheap, so to speak. All right, then, hey, look, as America goes in to being imploding on itself, we have to be prepared for, riots. We do have to be prepared for those who definitely don't believe the same way you believe. And man, there's all kinds of factions out there, and the Dems is just one problem. You've got Antifas and you got, all these others that completely hate America. We got people in Congress. Boggles my mind that people could get elected to Congress who hate America. Omar, she hates America, hates it. So why is she even here? We dragged her out of the sewage that she was in and gave her a life. And then she still hates America. So go figure. But along with them, you got the squad and several others that are within the party, Democratic Party. And that's just my opinion. And we need to be ready for that. We need to be ready for, I hate to use the word civil war, but it could be on the line of something like that. It may not necessarily be just one side against another. You're going to have several factions fighting against maybe 3 or 4 other factions. It is what it is. So you got to be ready for something like that. And then you need some of these weapons. And even if you don't have one of these and you don't want to get one of these, ones that I just mentioned for the ammo, buy it. You talk about barter. Somebody out there during the doo-doo when it hits the fan, they're going to need some rounds like this. And you may be able to barter, a couple hundred rounds. Personally, I say we don't barter ammo, but that's just me. But there may be something you desperately need. And whoever has what you desperately need could use some 9mm ammo. And if you've got a boatload of it, which you should, you might be able to spare some to get something that you want or need, maybe medicine or something like that. People need to think ahead of time, what they may need, because just because you're squared away doesn't mean other people are squared away. And like I said, when that crap hits the fan, they're going to be needing some things, and they're going to find out that they were not able to purchase a bunch of stuff to go in these things. And, they'll be looking to barter, looking to trade, whatever. And some of the stuff is a good stuff to trade. Just off the cuff, other good stuff, whiskey, cigarettes. You may not smoke. Nobody may smoke, but somebody out there smokes. I guarantee it. Somebody on the opposite end, or just not even on necessarily the opposite end. They smoke. They drink. You may not drink. But why not have some that you can trade, some little smaller fifth bottles, Get you a bunch of them. And you don't have to drink them. I say if you never open them, keep them in a cool, dry place, they'll last forever. And when all this doo-doo hits the crapola and somebody needs, to have something to calm themselves down, you'll have it. You never let on how much you have. You say, well, I've got 1 or 2, and I'll be glad to trade you for that. Said, I didn't stockpile all this stuff, and they don't have to know you did or not. So you never tell anybody what you've got in full. Never. It's just one of those things. So, all right then. Hey, look, it's Friday. I hope everybody has a great day and a great weekend. We'll catch you again probably this weekend. Hey, right now it's very nice out. It's like almost 89 degrees. I'm fixing to have a barbecue tonight. I'm cooking me some burgers and dogs on the grill, baby. That's just me. So, all right then. Hey, look, until next time. Hey, if you like this, give me a thumbs up. If you're new, subscribe. We appreciate it. If you like anything I'm talking about, if you have any ideas, put them down in the comments. I love to hear comments. I read them all. I may not actually get the click that I read it all the time because I forget sometimes and I go scroll through and read them. I do read every single one. Everyone. I read every single email that somebody sends me. Always. Sometimes I get the answer real quick and I get to check, real quick. They said, yeah, I saw this. Great. Thanks. Appreciate it. That kind of stuff. Because I do. I greatly appreciate you guys. I appreciate the thumbs up, man. I really do. I mean, those things, they help the channel. And like I said, shoot me a comment of something you may want me to talk about in the future, be it whatever. Stuff you're going to do for the SHtF or stuff you're going to do in case we get invaded by aliens. You just never know. So, all right then. Hey, look, until next time, y'all be safe and we'll catch you later.